Welcome everyone to this LPPDE webinar with Geoff Neiley, who will tell us about the secrets of accelerate knowledge and accelerate innovation, which actually is the theme of your upcoming conference, Geoff.
That's right.
So this is a pre-taste of the conference then. So please take it away.
Thank you, Peter. So as Peter mentioned, our conference is coming up in about a week and a half in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're excited to showcase how can we accelerate the knowledge that feeds into the innovation, accelerating your innovation. So I'm going to talk a little about this theme of the conference, and hopefully you'll come join us in Wisconsin and share your learnings and learn from your peers. So some highlights for the agenda. What I want to go through are slides not animating. Yep. So first, to innovate, we need to know what the customer needs, of course. So we'll talk a little about that. And then feeding those innovations is going to be knowledge, right? How can we store that knowledge, retrieve knowledge? And then if we're creating the knowledge, can we accelerate that knowledge creation and capture it for the future? Set-based is another means for creating more knowledge, capturing that knowledge, a method for accelerating that, and then finding those knowledge gaps. Where do we not know we need knowledge gaps, and overcoming the resistance, some of the resistances people have in creating the knowledge or reaching those innovations. So first, some strategies for innovation. Let's define what are those, what is customer value? So customer value is generally the perceived benefit minus how much it costs them for them to get that benefit, right? Does it cost them time? Does it cost them money? Is it emotional effort? And when we look at the values of the key dimensions, I would say it's functionally, is it emotional, is it economic? You know, what are these values that they're trying to that you want to innovate on to give a product or a innovation to that customer? These are some of those values you're looking for that can help them. And then maybe it's a product that you're trying to improve on. You got to improve the quality of the product. Maybe it's reducing, friction, whether it's physical friction or just resistance to some obstacle. And then is it gaining them value? Are they going to get? How quickly will they gain value monetarily from their customers potentially? So. So what are some ways we can learn about that customer value? We want to gain that insight from the customer base or from the market. So so how can we try to find those pieces, that information, right? So one of them is through rapid prototyping. So you can quickly come up with some questionnaires or tests and gain that feeling from the customer as to whether where are they feeling that friction or that resistance. And we can easily use AI. AI in many ways can act like a pseudo customer base by asking the questions to an AI agent. They can give you some consolidated information on markets and customer value. So as a little test, as a rapid prototype test for this little customer market. In this meeting, I'd like you to go to this QR code or go to menti.com and put in this number here and take my little test, a little survey. And I'm going to do the same thing right here in front of you. I'll do it too. All right. So the quiz is which one's most frustrates you? Struggling to connect to some Wi-Fi somewhere, trying to assemble some furniture like this poor guy here, and you order something and you get the wrong one in the mail, or your zipper on the luggage jams. Which one is most frustrating for you? Let's see, I'm going to say, I hate when I get the wrong item sent to me. Okay. And you all seem to agree, right? So, I just want to demonstrate there are some easy ways to just gain some knowledge that, maybe there's a market for making a company that always gets you the right item. But I could easily create a new survey based on this, based on getting the wrong item. Is it close to the right item? Is it somebody else's item? So I can quickly create surveys, create information, especially if you have a captive audience, such as a conference or a meeting. You can quickly do these surveys and get information. So that's how you can gain some knowledge about the customer value that you could innovate against. So let's talk about accelerating that knowledge creation and knowledge capture, right? So it really starts with what existing knowledge do you have? That's where we should always start. If you have the knowledge, it doesn't take you any time to go, you won't have to go get the knowledge. So if we can have a repository of existing knowledge where we can access it, then that is really the fastest way. Do you have standard work? Do we have trade-off curves? Do you have project reports, A3s? So this is the easiest, fastest, safest knowledge to have, is knowledge that you've already created. So we don't want to have to create that knowledge over again. Try to find it in your existing knowledge base. There's also a lot of knowledge out there already at external sources. Can you find public reports or industry standards or industry surveys? AI can find some of these for you. So if we don't have the knowledge in-house already, has somebody already done this? Can we find this information from somebody else? And then lastly would be to create that knowledge. If you can't find it, if you haven't done it, if you can't find that somebody else has already done it, then we're going to delve into creating that knowledge ourselves as quickly as possible. So let's say we don't have the knowledge. We're going to have to create that as fast as we can, right? Prototyping, I did a prototype survey, right? There's also 3D printing. If anybody's worked with 3D printing, it is amazing. It was really eye-opening to me when I bought my first printer. I bought a printer going on 5 years now, paid $180 US for it, and it still works today. I used it a couple of weeks ago. And what really opened my eyes to it is when I want something to fit nicely. For example, I made this phone holder here, clips on my old phone. When we first went on COVID, I wanted to use my phone as my camera because I didn't have one. And so I wanted something I could place on my monitor and put my phone on it, and my phone would be my camera. So I wanted it to snap onto my phone. So what dimension do I use right here so that it has a nice snap fit? Well, of course, I measured the phone, but I could very easily print very small pieces. I could do a very thin print and see if it fit. And if it was too small, I could print another thin one. And I'm not wasting a lot of material, and it's very fast to print a small one. Once I had the right fit, then I could print the whole thing. Another example I did here at work recently was we have this cylinder, and I wanted to make a fixture that would fit into that cylinder. Very snug. Again, I take a measurement, but if I went and made the whole part and it didn't quite fit or is too loose, then I got to make the whole part over again. And each one of those costs money, costs time. So I made this small arc or slice of the cylinder, and I graduated the diameter by 4 different places. One that I knew was too small, one I knew was too big, and then some in the middle. Then I could insert this into the cylinder. The first one's loose, the second one a little too loose, third one fit perfectly, and the fourth one was too big. So by doing a dummy part, which can be used for anything except for showing somebody in a presentation later, I knew, I was assured that my part would fit into that cylinder. And that's really what opened my eyes to it. I can print very small little pieces to ensure that the fit of something will be perfect. Then I can print a big version of it. And if I want to make some other device, maybe something I want to strap my phone to my arm for running, I've already got the size of the phone. I can just take that exact same thing. I know it's going to snap on my phone, and then I have to just come up with some other feature for attaching it to my arm. So 3D printing is great, not just for making parts fast, but for making these little sample fit pieces. So it was really eye-opening once I had my own printer at home and I could do these things. I say speed over accuracy to a point, right? Can you mock it up in cardboard? Can you use paper and duct tape or plywood or Legos or Arduino and breadboards? How fast can you come up and prove a certain aspect of what you're trying to test? The plywood example is we used to make a body scanner, the ones you see at the airport, and people would have to step up onto a platform, and we didn't want people to trip over it, so we needed some ramps, and we didn't know how much slope we should use. We have a limit. We couldn't make these really long because the customer needed it to be within some space. But we tested, and we just had a woodworker, a handy woodworker in engineering. He says, I'll go make one over the weekend. And actually, he made 3 over the weekend. And he made one that was a full step, another one that had sloped edges, and another one that was kind of a curve where he bent the plywood over, and we put that in the system. And then we had people walk in and try it and take steps over it and which one felt better. And we made 3 prototypes out of wood over the weekend and decided the curved one was the safest and most comfortable. And we do it quickly. And we knew that once we designed the final production one, if we had to make molding for a plastic, we knew that we would be comfortable and happy with the shape. And then, as I've mentioned, that's iteration, how quickly you can do the cycles, how quickly you can learn. I remember when I was a kid and they told us about studying fruit flies, how their generation is 2 weeks long. And if they have the information, the genetic information that you want to study, you can get 26 lifetimes in a year. Whereas if you study humans, the generation is 60, 80 years. How can you study 26 of those? So the faster you can iterate, the faster you're going to get information. So really that's the lesson is iterate and find ways to do it in small pieces so you can go fast. And then finally, set-based innovation. If you can study several similar ones, and this is kind of like a set base because I did 4 sets here all in one piece, and then I could test them. If you can test several pieces and be able to plot the sensitivity of those variables, you can create a curve which you could either extrapolate or interpolate in between to get the decision that you need. And then, of course, AI tools are really adding to this as well. Again, sources for public data. At the conference last year, I was inspired by Steve Zielinski's presentation on using AI, and his demonstration was writing customer requirements. And you can ask AI, and it will write customer requirements for you. Now, full disclosure, right? AI is not 100% right. It's a matter of fact, my number I always use is only 60% right. We use our brain to filter out the 40% that's not right or not applicable to us, but that 60% is super powerful. So, access it for knowledge. Maybe it's temperature data around the world if you're trying to design something for parts of the world. Is it population demographics? These are the types of things that you can get. It can also help you suggest other methods for testing or ideas for surveys. As a matter of fact, I asked AI for 4 frustrating things to come up with my survey. And other methods. And I asked AI, how can I do a quick online survey? And I'd seen Menti, as a matter of fact, on LPPDE presentations, people have used it. I couldn't remember what it was called, but I did use AI to find that. And consolidating the knowledge and going through knowledge, it's very good at. I've probably cut my Excel usage in half with AI, because now instead of putting it into Excel and creating my own plot, I put the data into AI and I tell it, make me a plot. And it creates the data, or it reconfigures the data into a form that I need, or we have reports that come out of one of our databases that comes out in a real mess, not conducive to formatting or creating your own plots. AI will clean that up. It'll find the pieces you want and put it in a format then you can manipulate. So it's tremendous at working with spreadsheets and data and consolidating. So now we're creating lots of knowledge. How do we store it? How do we gain access to it? So some of the issues that we have are today when we store them, is it a common format? If it's not in a common format, do we have trouble finding it? Do we have access to it? Do some people have access? Some people don't have access to it. The reporting standards might not be the same. And maybe people aren't going far enough to capture that data. Maybe we need to train people. We should have a standard of how we capture the data. And some of the difficulties. So sometimes we have trouble getting into that data. A lot of people want to store. It's intuitive to put it in folders, and but what I keep finding is that my brain doesn't work the same as other people's brains, and so the folder they call it isn't something I would have thought of. I would have put it in a different folder. So the folder structure format is really difficult. So here again, A3 method is an example. AI for knowledge storage is tremendous. AI is A3 is a common standard. It's a common format. It forces you to have certain maybe headings or naming conventions. Certain information is stored in the A3. We train on how to do A3 so that our A3s are common. So when they go in the database, you can it's easier. But the A3 method also helps make that knowledge concise because it forces you to collaborate with peers. And who's the customer for your knowledge? It's not necessarily you to use in the future. The power of not storing knowledge is so that everyone in your group, the customers of that knowledge, can access it. So that I don't have to do over what Dan already did a year ago. And then AI, of course, enhances this search too. Again, I've never been a believer in the network, the folder structure, but AI helps you find knowledge in a sparse or a dense or maybe confusing knowledge base. So capture the knowledge, get it into a knowledge base. And really what you want is an AI that can search that database to find the information for you. So finally, how do we bridge those unknown unknowns? We don't know what we don't know. And this really is where we want to use cross-functional teams and AI. Go outside of your sphere, of your region, your area. So you're talking to people that have diverse experiences to uncover those unknown unknowns. So again, rapid, how can we do this quickly? The faster we can do a test, the sooner we're going to learn, right? My friend Christer Lund always talks about, I'd rather fall from 1 meter 10 times than fall one time from 10 meters. So how can we learn quickly? Small cycles. How can we home in like a homing missile, like Christer likes to talk? We make adjustments as we go from each test to get to where we want to be, to get the knowledge we need. Maybe these customer satisfaction focus, maybe we do surveys, quick surveys to customers. We show them examples, prototypes, and get their feedback. And then, maybe we have that minimum viable product. Through these small cycles, we may find this is where we can launch our minimum viable product. It has value to the customer, maybe not all the value that they need, but it has some value. But you're also going to get feedback for your next viable product. So, and then we need to get this into a continuous process. How do we continually improve? These small cycles help you with your process improvement. So regular check-ins on the process, making small changes quickly on these processes. You can, over time, make tremendous gains. Instead of reinventing the wheel, starting everything over again, build on what we have today and do it quickly. More data analysis. So can we refine that the data that we have to find insight and to make better decision making, make better decisions? And then, as I mentioned, bridging that knowledge gap, identifying those unknown unknowns. Leverage AI. AI is not going to be biased about from inside your organization. It's going to give you a broad spectrum, right? You should never Google again. And as a matter of fact, Google doesn't even Google anymore, right? It goes to this Gemini AI, right? AI is where you want to go and ask and about the knowledge you're trying to find, right? It's going to look in places that you're not currently thinking necessarily. And then I think even as powerful, probably more powerful, are your cross-functional teams within your organization, right? Are you engaging people that haven't seen this problem before or haven't been involved in this product before because you have divisions that work on different pieces? Have you talked to manufacturing? Manufacturing's perspective is a lot different than an engineer. The procurement's perspective is different. The field service engineer who's out there in front of the customer has a different perspective. Get these people in so that they can identify these unknown unknowns so you're not surprised by them late in the development cycle. And then finally, how do we overcome the resistance that comes along with trying to move quickly? And probably the biggest, this is the general statement, right? People, we resist change. We're comfortable in the organization, but we need to be able to value failure. People they fear failure in general. Why do they feel failure? Maybe punishment, maybe embarrassment. We need to learn from our failures. We need to embrace the risk taking, and so that we can find these innovations, so we can find the knowledge we need to innovate. We need to welcome failures as they create knowledge. And then from these failures, we need to get that failure into our knowledge base, right? It can be a learning tool. We want to fail. We want to find the information that we need. Right? Definitely, we shouldn't be punishing it. We should embrace it. and then bring it into that knowledge sphere so that we can access it in the future. And it comes from the leaders. Leaders need to encourage people to try, to take risks, and show the value in a failure. How are we gaining value due to the failure? So just to summarize in the end, right, we need to get that customer value. What is valuable to that customer? Perceived benefit minus the cost to them. How do we create that knowledge and gain that knowledge, right? Quick, small tests. And then we want to collaborate with our teams, find those unknowns, cross-functional, whether it's AI, whether it's people in your organization, whether it's your customers, maybe it's other divisions, bring more people in so that you can learn more and then continue to do it. Ongoing, rapid refinement, continue to do it, small cycles like the fruit fly. How can we learn so fast so that we learn 26 times a year rather than once every 1,300 years? That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Geoff. Any questions?
So I just want to add, finalize with, I hope you join us. This is a taste of what we're going to see in Milwaukee in a week and a half. Plenty of time still to sign up. You can go to our website, lppde.org, and there's a link there for registration. And hope to see you there. The more people we can get there, the more outside collaboration we get. As I just spoke about, we can discover unknowns. You can learn from people that come to the conference, and you will definitely bring knowledge that will help somebody else.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Any questions, Vince?
Yeah, I unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to Wisconsin. I would love to, but in the furlough status I'm in, I can't even do it on my own dime, because that would be saying that I'm not necessary to the mission. But one thing I want to add to your take on 3D printing, we've been offering monthly 3D print classes, and they've gotten so popular. We've actually been doing double sessions. And that's really opened the door for the workforce at all levels to engage with it. And so ideas that we would have never thought of or been able to solicit are coming to us, because people are coming and saying, hey, I took the class and I have this idea. Could you help me prototype it? So just wanted to kind of build on what you were saying there, Jeffrey. Excellent presentation. Over.
That's very interesting. I hadn't thought of that, Vince. Thank you. I would be interested in knowing a little more about that, because in the mechanical engineering world and the electrical, we sit in one area, but we have a couple of small 3D printers right here in the office, and the mechanical team uses it all the time. But I wonder if we were to train outside of the mechanical group, as I'm guessing you're doing, if we showed purchasing people and manufacturing people.
Yep. I mean, it's surprising things that you wouldn't even think of. One of the most recent ones was for the paint shop. They were buying nuts and bolts to mask off areas that they were going to paint, so that paint didn't get into those, areas. So and so we started 3D printing them, and in one refit we saved almost $80,000. Not to mention the fact that there was no schedule delays, and there was higher quality, because the 3D printed parts require less labor. They break away. They're disposable, which we were doing with the metal ones also. But we were able to make them so that instead of having to unthread them and break them away, we just designed a failure point into the connection so that you could just take a hammer and a dead blow hammer and whack them off. So, little things like that unless you're engaging with the deck plate, you're not going to see it. Over.
I think that's excellent. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a session together with the hands-on operators and show them what it can do and ask them to think about ways to use it. That's great. Thank you very much for sharing that.
And if you'd like, reach out to me. We are actually my prototyping lead has developed a one-day course, and because we serve the public, I can release that to you, and it contains a lot of open source stuff also. So he's got kind of a collection of different videos from the maker community, and he does a really good job of taking you from no experience with 3D printers to actually printing a part by the end of the class. Over. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to reach out to you. This is a great idea that I hadn't thought of. It's a great idea.
Thank you. It's a great example of the spirit of LPPDE also, when you present
right.
and you learn.
That's right.
One question, Geoff, we've heard about TRIZ for many years on reusing knowledge and not reinventing things. It went through my head when you talked about it, of where we have the knowledge. Do you have any thoughts about that? With AI, it should be even easier to retract or extract the knowledge from those databases.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're using AI to access diverse databases. We use it internally to access our database. We use Copilot, which is behind a firewall, so we can upload data with the knowledge that it's not going to go out into the public sphere. But it does access readily available data in databases such as you're referring to.
So then would you need to store knowledge because you can find it with AI?
Well, correct. You want to capture the knowledge and you want to store it in some vault, but you don't need to organize it because AI will find it. You just don't need to organize it. It will find it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the Google search times 10. It imparts some logic onto the Google search. I don't have to know what the keyword is like I do on a Google search.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a believer for years that the Google search would be the solution for our knowledge access problems. But AI has taken that to the more useful level.
Good. Any other thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I'll reiterate what Geoff was saying there. I've found recently that when you're trying to correlate different pieces of information to kind of put them together, rather than hunting through multiple sites, a lot of times the AI assistant will compile that for you off of multiple sites, and then it'll also cite the site, so then you can go to the information. So yes, highly useful tool. Over.
Yeah, for sure. The citing where it gets the information is critical so that you can validate it. Because as I mentioned, I think about 40% of it is not correct, or it's not what I was asking. And I really find that when I go to the cited literature and I say, oh, no, didn't quite get that one. But when you validate it, it is tremendously helpful.
Mm-hmm. Good. Then thanks a lot, Geoff. Great presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
So, hope you will get people to Milwaukee.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. We are getting people. Let's get some more.